in which the needs of the human being on the other side of the screen are subordinated to the desires of those who pay for information about that person. We did not get here overnight. We did not get here by accident. The story of EdTech is the story of the internet. Now, the internet transformed since the 90s from a distributed, publicly funded means of sharing knowledge to a closed, corporately owned means of observing and manipulating human behavior. EdTech must be considered as an ecosystem, rather than as one device or program in isolation. But one company, more than any other, is responsible for the transformation of the internet beginning in 2001. It's the same company responsible for the transformation of the classroom that began a decade later. In her 2019 book, The Age of Surveillance Capitalism, Harvard professor Shoshana Zuboff explains how around 2001, Google invented a new way of doing business online. Then, as now, web companies collected reams of information about their users as they browsed the internet. Only at that time, when these so-called metadata were seen as such useless byproducts, they were deemed digital exhaust. But like the clever engineers who discovered how to capture natural gas in an oil well rather than just burn it off, Google's engineers figured out a way to refine this exhaust into a valuable commodity. Eventually, industry followed suit, such that every internet company and many companies in the real world benefit to at least some extent from the data trade. This includes EdTech companies. Phones, computers, and other network devices record everything a person does online and offline. That information is fed into sophisticated algorithms, allowing companies to predict what that person is going to do next, influence their behavior to make those predictions more likely to come true, and then sell those predictions to others looking to benefit from that knowledge. Under this new model, companies were able to offer products more cheaply or even for free because the human beings using those products paid with their time and attention. The real customers were those who paid money for the predictions and the power to influence users. As Google grew, the surveillance business model crowded out other potential ways of making money online. Investment in alternative business models dried up. Success was now measured in user metrics, not revenue. And thus, every company, to at least some degree, became a surveillance company. EdTech companies are no exception. As this model took hold, companies ceased to design their products solely for the benefit of the human user, and instead began to design to maximize the user's time with the company's product. User time is company money. The more time a user spends with the product, the more data is generated, the better the predictions become, and the greater the opportunity to reach the user. Design briefs shifted from how to make this product fun, interesting, and useful to the user so that they choose to come back, to how do we coerce the user to spend as much time as possible with this product. Persuasive design is the answer. Sitting at the intersection of behavioral psychology and computer science, persuasive design is the discipline of using a computer to influence the behavior of a user for the benefit of someone else. These techniques are now familiar to all of us. The endless scroll, autoplay, algorithmic feeds that push content that you don't choose, daily streaks, and virtual rewards, all intentionally employed to keep us fully immersed, scrolling and clicking while we lose track of time and forget the thing we set out to do. It's what big tech euphemistically calls engagement, and it is the only measure of success in the data economy. It's engagement Vegas style. Across a large enough population, persuasive design techniques can influence the behavior of a meaningful number of users in favor of tech companies and their paying customers. Collectively, tech companies employ thousands of experts in persuasive design. Their dream? To keep users on their platforms forever, pointing their attention toward whatever is most profitable. The father of persuasive design, a Stanford professor named B.J. Fogg, observed in the late 1990s that a computer could be three things: a tool, a medium, or a persuasive agent. A tool, something that I use, that's necessary to accomplish a task. A medium, a way of exchanging information between me and somebody else. And a persuasive agent, a way to manipulate my behavior for the benefit of someone else. In 1998, this was radical stuff. Computers were huge, the internet was slow, and hardly anybody was online. It was hard to imagine a computer could be used to change human behavior, but Fogg's experiments showed it was possible. Over the next decade, As computers shrank to the size of a smartphone, the internet sped up, and everyone logged on, persuasive design features became embedded in every internet platform that monetized user attention and information. This includes EdTech. And the mix of tool, media, and persuasive agent changed as well. In the beginning, computers were pure tools, room-sized behemoths for making massive-scale calculations for military and business planning. When I entered school in 1989, personal computers were a mix of tool and media. Think word processors, electronic encyclopedias, which nevertheless centered the needs of the user. But today, even though they are marketed only as tools and physically resemble the laptops of decades past, school computers are mostly persuasive agents, some media, and very little tool. That's because all EdTech exists in a larger environment of attention mining through the internet. A Google Chromebook